Hi guys, so today we are going to talk about layers, shapes, and texts. So there are three different topics or subtopics that we will cover today, but they are very short. So I've decided to include all three in one lesson. Our learning competencies today would be to use partitions or layers in producing an overall image. And then we will also add shapes and texts in an image. For our values competency, we will exhibit creativity and innovativeness in solving problems. And for our 21st century skills, creativity and innovation, demonstrate originality and inventiveness in work and understand the real world limits to adopting new ideas. So let me show you this image first. So it's an image of a sky. Well, there's also the sea, but mainly it's about the sky. Now, I want to ask if we will add a flying dove, should we draw or import an image of a dove on the canvas itself or not? Because if we draw something like a dove on the canvas, no? Well, I cannot draw a dove, but let me try to draw a caricature bird. What would be the negative effect of it on the image? So if you are going to think about it, if we draw something on an image, well, it will become static. The drawing will become part of the image and it will be hard to edit it again. You cannot just remove it instantly. So that's why in our topic for today, we will use layers to segregate the image of the background and the image of the different objects so that they will not be part of one whole layer. Imagine you are drawing on paper. After drawing on paper, you will add things, drawing again on the same paper. In layers, we will be using different papers on top of each other. And of course, it will only show what we draw on each layer. So these different layers, when put together, it will still create an image. But the thing is, we are actually drawing on different pages. So let me show you a demonstration on how to add layers. I have Photoshop here. I've already preloaded the sky. On the left side, you look for the panel called layers. So you will see a thumbnail here of the image. You have a thumbnail here of the sky. To add a layer, you have to click on, wait, it's not showing. Let me just adjust my Photoshop. Okay. So here, at the bottom part, you look for the icon which says create new layer. If you click on this, a new layer will be added. So if I draw something here using, let's say, a brush tool, let me just change the color. So I will select black. So if we draw something here, the image will not actually be destroyed because the drawing is on a different layer. If I remove it, the original image will still be there. Well, anyway, I didn't remove it. I just turned it into invisible. So if we will remove it, you just right click and delete. There, the original will still be intact. So again, to add a layer, we create a new layer by clicking this button. Now, I want to add a bird, a dove. I've already saved an image of a dove, so I will just click and drag over here. And you see this bounding box, it means that the dove or the imported dove is not editable. Sorry. Wait. Oh, there. To make it editable, let's say we want to remove the background using a selection tool, we have to right click on the layer and rasterize the layer. Rasterize means we convert that image into something editable. So if we right click on that, we will now be able to use let's say the magic wand. I will click on the background and delete, press delete, and I will deselect. And then to select different layers quickly, you can put your mouse on top of the object, you right click, and then you select the layer. So if I right click and then select the background, I will be able to, oh, the layer is locked. Okay, let me unlock. We can now move the layer if we right click and then you select the layer. I will adjust by using Ctrl T. I will make it a bit smaller. So there we go. That's how we add layers. Let me add another layer. And then I want to add a shape. Let me add a shape. So we have here different shape tools. We have rectangle, rounded rectangle, and ellipse, and even polygon. Let's try adding a rectangle. So click on the rectangle tool, click and drag. Now, here's the tricky part in the shape tools. In the shape tools, look at the properties. In the properties, in my side, a stroke is selected. So you can see a bounding box here. That's the stroke. And then the fill is set to none. You cannot see anything. If you want this to be solid, click on this fill and then you select a color. If you want the bounding box to be gone, you select on it and then select this one, the no color icon. And then the bounding box will be removed. If you want to convert this into a rounded rectangle, you may use this one, on the properties panel. If you drag the sliders here, it will convert the rectangle into a rounded rectangle. Or you may add, let me undo. We can also add a rounded rectangle from here, from this tool. And then we can control the corners using this one. Using the panel, we can also change the colors. So not only on properties, but we can also use the panel. And then the polygon, you can place any shape more than two sides, because if it is only two-sided, then it's not a polygon. Polygons are objects with three or more sides, because three sides creates a plane. So let's say we want to create a pentagon, 5 sides. So we will change here on the sides, we will change it to 5, and then we just click, drag, it will create that kind of polygon. If you want to resize, again, Control T, you can change its sides. Holding on to Shift, it will maintain the aspect ratio. Now, to add a text, you click on this one. Basically, it's very, very easy. You just type on something, and then a new layer will be added. And then you can change its font by selecting the text tool. Make sure that the layer is selected. And then here on the properties, you may change its font and even its font size. If you want a custom number of font size, click on the number and then you change it. Or you may use this one. See the T icon, you can click and drag. And then you can also adjust the justification. And you can also change the color here. I wanted something green. There we go. Now, guys, look at this. There are several layers already. Whenever I add an object, a new layer is created. So adding a new layer is not the only option. If you drag something onto the canvas, most probably it will create a new layer. But just to be sure, you have to be keen on checking the layers tab. Now, let's look at the layer of the text something. It has a letter T on it, indicating that it is a layer of text. Now I will move it. I can reorganize the layers. I will move it downwards. I will try to place it down here, right above the sky. Look at what will happen. So, the text something placed here went missing. Do you have any ideas why it happened? Can you type on the chat and give me your ideas? Now, if you will notice on the layers, at the beginning, it was at the top. I moved it at the bottom. So you may think of layers as a stack. Again, as a stack. Whatever is on the top will be the first one to be seen. Whichever is at the bottom part, that will be the last to be seen. Since we changed the placing of the text something, we placed it at the lower, we placed it on a lower order. So therefore, this rectangle is blocking its view. Let's check. Let's select the layer of the rectangle. It's this one. So I will move the rectangle. So it's actually above now the text. So what if we want the text to be seen? You have to make sure that it is above the object that's blocking it. Now, another thing I want to teach you is you can change the opacity of one layer. Let's look at this rectangle. For now, the color is solid. But looking at this end, the opacity, make sure that the layer is selected. Now I will drag the slider for opacity. Look at the rectangle. It's somehow changing its solidness. It's turning into something gradient. It's almost invisible right now because the opacity is lowered down. When the opacity is at 100%, the object is solid. If it is near zero, it is almost invisible. So there is a blending happening with the object or the layer selected. Let's try to use now this rectangle, the rounded rectangle. Another fun thing to do with layers is we can change its color mode. So we have different color modes. And I will let you explore each one. But to give you an overview, selecting different colors will change how it blends against the background. So if you have an artistic idea about an object, you may try using this to change the blends of colors of the object against its background. All right, so what else? I want you to do this one. I want you to tell me what can be the problem if you have something like this. Look at the background and look at the text. What can be the problem of this one? Maybe you might think that the background somehow is a dark color and then the text is also dark. So in the basics of image production and uh, even videography, when we have a background color that is dark, the foreground, this is again background, okay? Background color. Now the foreground must be light. Okay? Let me show you this. We have this. It's somehow lightly colored. If we will add a text on top of it, and using almost the same color, it will be a bit hard to look at. But if we will use a contrasting color, it can be immediately seen. Another example, if we have a rectangle that is, let's say, white, and then we use this something, and then the text color is very light, that's going to be hard to look at. So make sure that the foreground, the text color, is contrasting with the background, just to make sure that the texts or even other objects will be visible. Alright? So right now, I want you to do activity 4.2. You will create your own Facebook cover template. So this will be a fun activity. You create a new file. Let me show you how to create a new file. Maybe you have forgotten. Create new, and then this pop-up box will appear. So you have to set the width to 820 pixels and the height to 360. Maintain 72 for the resolution. So again, 820, is that right? 820 pixels for the width, and then the height is 360, and then maintain resolution of 72. So there it is. Now we will use this as an image guide. So in creating Facebook cover photos, the best place to put your content or whatever you want to be seen is on this end. So you allot borders here and here and here those parts will not be actually seen on different devices. Let's say, for example, you are going to use a mobile. This area, the top and the bottom, will not be seen, but this in this area will be seen on a laptop or a computer. I cannot open this one. I'm sorry. I want to change the colors of the brush. But anyway, if you are going to use a mobile, the area, this area will be seen, and then this area will not be seen. So the safest bet is the one in white. So what you will do is you will add any socially, morally, and ethically accepted background image, and then you add an image of you, and then you remove the background by using selection tools. And then if you want, you may edit using image adjustments, change the hue or saturation, brightness or contrast. And then you add a text, you add your name in the work. If you want, you add any quotes coming from you, and then you try to utilize shapes as backgrounds. Okay, so the idea here is you use your own creativity to create a Facebook cover photo. Let me show you an example. So here is my work, and like I've said earlier, if you are going to use the safest bet where you place your content is right about here. So whatever device will be used, this area will always be shown. So you concentrate the things that you will put, you concentrate on this area. Now let me show you the screenshot of the Photoshop when I was creating this. So I've actually created rulers or borders where I can place the different areas. How do you add borders in Photoshop? You just click on the ruler, click and drag. Okay? How will you know where to place the ruler? So in my example, since it's in centimeters, it's around 1.7, so I will adjust it here. The other side, it's around 9 point, is that 9.6? Right about here. And then on this end, almost 0.5. And then at the bottom, it's nearing 4.5. So around this area. So if you will notice, in my work, I have my image with no backgrounds. The main background is a series of computers. I've added a shape here. I've placed a text, contrasting image, or contrasting colors rather. And then I've also used a rectangle on this place. So now I've created my cover photo for Facebook. So I want you to do the same, and then you submit your work as JPEG. You already know how to save your work as JPEG. Afterwards, you attach it to Schoology. Alright? Now, before I end this, I want to ask you, it's sort of a review question. Please tell me what kind of composition technique I used in this image. What did I use as my reference for composition techniques? So I will leave you with that. Thank you so much. Please do your activity.